All right, we're rolling. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Colin Weston, and welcome to What Keeps You Up at Night, Entrepreneurship During Challenging Times, our live stream show through Startup Vancouver. We have two amazing guests here today. We have Charles Gauthier, who is the president and CEO of the Downtown Vancouver BIA. And we also have Michelle Martin, an entrepreneur. She does so many great things through Whole Human Ventures and some other things that I'm going to leave it to Maryam, my co-host, to say all the good things she does there. But if I can for a moment here, I am going to share my screen to tell you about some of the things as part of the intro here. So bear with me for a second while I make an effort to share that. Okay. All right, hopefully everybody can see that. I guess we don't need to say we're starting in a minute or so because we are officially started here already.
Great.
As I always say, how's everybody doing? How's everybody hanging in there during these COVID times here with shelter in place? Hopefully everybody's doing okay, that you're staying upbeat, you're staying engaged, and you're staying active also, both physically and mentally, because it is, these are some unprecedented times. I know it's such a cliche, everybody says that, but we're here for you. And the reason we do this, our real why, with Startup Vancouver and the show that we put together here, is to connect with you. And even though this is informative, we also want to make it inspirational and also a bit fun. So have a certain amount of levity here too, with the conversations that we have with our guests. So with Startup Vancouver, the best way to connect with us is through social media, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, also on LinkedIn. We've got our community page there. And we also have our freshly minted YouTube channel, which we are posting all of the shows after the fact here. So if you liked it so much and you want to watch it again or see the ones that you haven't had a chance to see yet, that's the best place to go with Startup Vancouver. Okay, as I mentioned today, our amazing guests, Michelle Martin, who I added two T's to her last name for some reason. And for some reason with Charles Gauthier here too. You'd think I would have someone better here checking our copy before I actually put these together. I'm sorry, I have myself to blame. I actually did that. Apparently I've got a thing with adding extra T's to people's names here. So I apologize to Michelle Martin and Charles Gauthier.
Well, we're in good company with the extra T's.
I know. Well, the last episode was brought to you by Q because we had both our guests had Q in their company. So I guess today it's brought to you by T with my typos. On a more serious note here, we do have a charity that we are very proud to sponsor here and to work with, and that is jack.org, which is a Canadian nonprofit which promotes mental health advocacy for youth. And so far, we've managed to raise, in the month of May, we raised $155 that we are going to be donating to Jack. Hopefully we can do even more of that in June as we continue to roll here with our shows twice a week. And as we put out there, these shows are free to attend, but if you do want to donate through our Eventbrite page, please do. Today, a little bit different, because I always do a shout out at the end for those who have donated. We didn't get any donations today, which is totally fine. So I'm going to do something a little bit different, and I'm going to donate a little bit at the end, depending on my performance. So putting pressure on myself here today. As I mentioned, Michelle Martin, without a T this time, entrepreneur, wellness and business advisor. Good things she's doing with not only Whole Human Ventures, but other awesome things that she's doing also with, there we go, with Stratoscast. So they can talk about that. Also with Charles, as I mentioned, with the Downtown Vancouver Business Improvement Association, that I will be having that conversation. And one thing I do want to mention, I've forgotten this every time, but I'm finally remembering, for our attendees today, we want this to be an engaging and interactive conversation. So after we finish our conversation with our guests, please put either in chat or in the Q&A, please put your questions in there. If you do it in chat, make sure you do it to panelists and attendees also, and we will ask your questions on your behalf to our fabulous guests. And with the Downtown BIA, all the good things they're doing there of improving downtown Vancouver for local businesses is their mandate. I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to hand it over to my fabulous co-host, Maryam Mobini, who she's going to have a chat with Michelle. And also first, why don't you tell us very quickly here the good things that you're doing with To Resonate, also, Maryam.
Actually, I'm going to pause on that and tell you a little bit more about it later.
There you go.
Thank you. I just want to say thanks, Colin, and welcome, Michelle. And Charles here. It's such an honor to have you both here. And then Michelle, it's such an honor to have you, have my friend here. I want to know a little bit more about, you know, all the good things that you're doing. We met back in 2017 when you were hosting the C2Sky Summit, and it was such an honor to have actually To Resonate at the closing ceremony of the C2Sky Summit. It was the immersive sonic experience, and we had about 75 people there, which was so lovely. And you did such an amazing job of hosting that summit. And here you are now, and up to so many amazing things, and Stratus Gas, and you know, Whole Human Venture. So tell us, please, a little bit more about this. And I want to know, and our audience like to know, what helps you focus and keeps you grounded during this unusual time.
Ooh, so much there. That was so juicy. Thank you so much, Maryam. Yeah, meeting you was like an incredibly transformational time because so many of us were up meeting up in Whistler. Colin gave an amazing talk around entrepreneurial peak potential, but his own journey that was such a crowd wower. So I think there was just a lot of amazing energy that came out of that, and here we are now. So super cool to actually, you know, fast forward. So that was sort of I would say an entrepreneurial peak potential project. My work has been very gone a lot deeper into integrative medicine, functional medicine, holistic well-being. So the last few years have been really, really orienting towards a technology platform that has been, you know, sort of the Dharma project, the project. And I'm sure we'll sort of get into the, and the project, you know, when it's the Dharma project, you know, it's gonna test you. It's gonna take some major twists and major turns, but you never let go of that fire. And then it only, so that's Stratos. But you asked me the specific question. I can get into what I'm up to, but how do I stay focused? I'm gonna go right to that question because right now, I actually left Germany right when COVID hit. And so in a strange twist of events, I'm in an unusual situation, like many of us, of living with my mother, which, you know, is, it's a great learning experience and awareness experience for me. So there you go. And I love her, and I love that we're having this time together. But I'm finding that, you know, I've had to push back from that childhood regression of turning into, you know, a 15-year-old girl again who's, you know, has parental issues. So for me, actually, and trust me, I may, you know, seem a little bit zen now, but I was not an easy teenager. Like this, you know, ease and flow has come later to me in life. I like to go have a good time then, and now in very different ways. So, so for me, I have my little doggie here. We get up in the morning, I go barefoot into the garden, I eat kale. I have learned all sorts of interesting things about foraging for botanicals. I have a herb garden. Actually, outside of technology, I'm studying Ayurvedic medicine right now. So I'm getting to be my own little test case, my own little laboratory over here, making medicinal teas. It is a side of me that I don't talk about much, but I love and I'm getting more and more passionate about. I'm calling it my amateur herbologist sort of side hustle. I
love it. And I want to say that last time I saw you in person was in March, and I can see like the change in you, like physically, I can see the change, like all the things that you've been implementing and all the inner work that you've been doing, it definitely shows. So yeah, tell us more of all the good stuff, and a Stratus cast as well.
Okay.
We want to hear about that.
Okay. Well, an hour a day meditation is part of my daily ritual. And I will say that medicinal mushrooms, in addition to botanicals, have been amazing for energy and cellular regeneration. But anyway, as you can see, the passion of health and wellness goes super deep for me. And so I've been working from a man in the US named Phil Cohen, who may be on this call right now, but he's a health tech, an entrepreneur and investor who's had similar health story arcs. So we've been working on the Stratos Technology Project with Toby, our third partner and my life partner, for some time, but we decided to launch Stratos Cast in this very interesting time in the world, because we wanted to share stories about wellness innovation that were deep and really got into conversations about our individual heroes' journeys that we can relate to, and then navigate some of the complexity in our both our outer world, you know, the environments, as well as our inner world, or our mind, MYND, mind, we call it, worlds, and that's sort of where awareness and meditation, and then also sort of positive psychology, and how we sort of ethically operate, how that intersects. So
I love it. Thank you. You said you do an hour-long meditation, and for someone who's getting started, what do you recommend? Do you recommend using any of the apps that you like that you recommend, or is it what sort of if for people who are just like, you know, starting new to meditation, what do you recommend there?
So I'm kind of one of those people that's like a go for it person. So for myself, and something I've heard echoed in more of the Vipassana Buddhist neurotech communities, is that at about 45 minutes, there is major neurological shifts that happen in the brain due to meditation. And that's when, you know, the real feel good chemicals start to get released, if that's what you're going for. And so I think for me, I actually started meditation by going to, I think it was a 7-day silent meditation retreat, because, you know, was this real? Well, I was going to find out then. And in my experience of that retreat, this was almost 10 years ago now, was getting to a place of sort of childlike joy. I turned into a 4-year-old, and everything was sparkly and glittery, and it was sort of like an epiphany-a-thon of the, after I got over, okay, the first 5 days was horrific and terrible, and, you know, all the voices in my head said run, but, you know, after I got over that, I went, okay, there's really something to this. So I think, you know, for me, the app experience is, I've done many, and I love Insight Timer because there's so much, you know, flexibility.
Variety, yeah.
Yeah.
Great t-shirt there, love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Michelle. That was really lovely. Thanks for sharing your insight with us. We're going to ask you more questions, and if anyone has questions from Michelle, please post your questions in the Q&A and or in the chat, and Michelle will write her response in the chat. So I'm going to hand it over to Colin. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you. And you guys did a great job there. I know to keep this condensed down into about 8 or 9 minutes or so is tricky, but you did a great job with that too. But we still have a minute or two left here. I think everybody's very shy with our attendees today. Usually we get lots of questions. So I also do the podcast thing, so I'm always full of questions. And Michelle and I are good friends. I had the pleasure of meeting you, I guess about 3-4 years ago. We were at an event through our mutual friend, Rob Foxall, who was the co-founder of Startup Vancouver back in the day, more than 3 years ago. And you and I were just at an event, a BC Tech event, I believe, and we ran into each other and hit it off, and we're friends to this day. So I love your energy. You make me feel like I'm asleep half the time with the energy level that you have. It's very inspirational. So I just want to ask you one question for all the entrepreneurs out there. Since you've had such this broad range and depth of different entrepreneurial endeavors during good times, not so great times, can you give like 1 or 2 kind of tips or to entrepreneurs of maybe what they should focus on right now and what they should not do?
Ooh.
I know it's a big, heavy question, but you know, even to something as far as
I will say, I'm going to answer inner world and outer world.
Okay.
Inner world, like stop, like give yourself space, because there's so much energy moving through. That's the only way I figure out what to do, is if I stop moving. And you know, and that takes intention because I want to keep moving. So that is the inner question, the answer, but the outer question, and it's one that we never really got to, what keeps me up at night. And there are things that keep me up at night, not literally, metaphorically. And one is just tracking the global economic climate in maybe nuance before, and I'm still figuring out what that looks like for me. But I think, you know, between the crypto universe and our different economists saying different things about where we're sort of heading on a global economic scale, it's just time to pay closer attention, and that's what I'm doing in an intentional way while keeping up the practices of living a good life. So that's...
Love that. Well, thanks for that response. And that on that first part that you talk about, that inward, as far as it comes down to discipline also. And I know for entrepreneurs myself, that's so hard sometimes because you want to just go so fast and perhaps try different things. And sometimes just taking that deep breath and trying to pace yourself almost seems counterintuitive to being an entrepreneur, but it is necessary not to stop, but to definitely pace yourself. So Michelle, thank you for that. Maryam, thanks for that awesome interview. And I'm going to switch it over to Charles Gauthier now, who, as I mentioned, is the CEO and president of the Downtown Vancouver Business Improvement Association. So Charles, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. And that was a great way to lead the program off. So thanks, Michelle, for your insights.
Yeah, good stuff, good stuff. So Charles, first you can start with, because I had a fairly good idea of what a BIA does, but so for all the people out there, could you tell us, not only for Downtown Vancouver BIA, could you tell us what the heck a BIA does and why you exist?
Yeah, so we're a business organization. We're a not-for-profit society registered under the BC Societies Act, and we've been around since 1990. So we did celebrate our 30th anniversary mid-February of this year. But in essence, we represent 7,000 businesses which are located within our 90-block geographic area, the Central Business District and the Downtown South area. And we're surrounded by a number of smaller business improvement associations. And then once we have that area identified, all the businesses within that area pay they pay a levy that's collected through the commercial property tax on all commercial properties. And the tenants then pay that in the form of their lease. And then we use that money to deliver a variety of different programs. So for us, we do economic development, placemaking, marketing and promotion of the downtown. We do a lot of advocacy work. And then our most popular program, which we had on the screen there earlier, is our Downtown Safety Ambassadors, which has been running for 20 years.
Wow.
And we have a downtown clean team that does supplemental cleaning of sidewalks, removing graffiti, picking up discarded syringes. They do a fantastic amount of work. The BIA movement started in Toronto in 1970, so 50 years. And this movement is now around the world. It's on every continent, with maybe the exception of Antarctica. But it's a great movement. It's a great way to get things done. So rather than us selling memberships and raising sponsorship dollars, we already have the money in hand. And so we're able to move quickly into action to deliver results for our membership.
Got it. Well, thank you for encapsulating that of what you do and why you do it with a BIA. So you and I spoke a couple of days ago, and you shared a story with me that I'd love for you to share with us. Many people out there may think, well, the BIA is not a pure entrepreneurship endeavor here, but you have the same challenges and opportunities. And how do you pivot? How do you refine? How do you change? So I believe in late February, you went away to Mexico for a week and then you came back. So tell us what things were like before you went away and then the day after you returned.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly heard about this COVID thing. I mean, it was in the news, but it had not yet been declared as a pandemic. So we had big plans. Our mandate was renewed for another 10 years by our membership in Vancouver City Council. That's required here in the province of BC as part of the legislation that's in place that basically creates us and makes us exist. And we had huge plans in terms of what we were going to do in terms of additional placemaking activities, bringing people downtown for festivals and events. And we were all set to launch that on April 1st. Our mandate was approved in mid-February or late February. I got on a plane a couple of days after to head down to Mexico for a week with my wife and got back. And then, as we know, COVID-19 arrived on our shores and turned our world upside down in terms of what we were going to do as an organization, because we can't bring people together for festivals and events. We can't do a lot of our placemaking initiatives that bring people downtown. And so, using this overused word, we had to pivot in terms of what we're going to do to serve our members and to respond first to this crisis that we were all experiencing, and what could we do to best serve our members. And now we're obviously talking about recovery. We're actually in recovery right now in terms of helping our member businesses. So no doubt that 1 week that I was away was definitely transformational. And I think we have been very entrepreneurial in terms of our response to this and how we've had to tailor our programs to best serve the needs of our members.
Thank you for that. And as an entrepreneur, one of the things you need to do is partner with people and collaborate. And one of the collaborations you have, and it sounds like you put this together very quickly once businesses were starting to physically shutter, is with the Vancouver Mural Festival. Can you tell us a bit about what you've done with the temporary murals there?
Yeah, that was a great project, and hats off to the Vancouver Mural Festival for reaching out to us and suggesting the idea of dealing with these boarded up storefronts that were happening not just within our own BIA, but the Robson Street BIA in Gastown and South Granville. And they approached us, the VMF, and said, hey, we have this great idea. We're prepared to, make this affordable for the BIAs to support, but we need you to reach out to those businesses that have boarded up their storefronts to see if we can get permission. Would the BIA also put funding forward to help pay the artist? And that was a no-brainer. We said, of course, this is a fantastic idea. And then we had to get the city on board, and of course they jumped to this as well. And we were able to mobilize within a couple of weeks of getting this done. The first set of murals rolled out in the Robson Street BIA, and then we were next. And the results are visible on our website. There's a virtual gallery there. I would encourage your listeners to go there. But it was such a great response. You take something that's such a disappointing, discouraging, deflating experience of seeing businesses that have been around for a long time boarding up, graffiti showing up, and then all of a sudden you get these great messages of hope and inspirational messages and tributes to our frontline and healthcare workers. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it again. Don't make me cry, but it's been such a great experience to work with the artists, and we support artists each and every day within our organization. We've done laneway transformations. We support other types of projects as well where the artists come to us. New banners going up on Granville, Hastings, and Alberni Street in the next little while will actually pay tribute to some of the artists that we work with very closely.
Amazing. I love this. And as we know, unlike usual recessions, the people that have been hit hardest and the most immediate are the ones that are, well, as we know, on the front lines, whether it's artists and restaurants. And I do want to talk about that quickly here when we have a couple minutes left. But it's so great that you are helping artists. I know this, whether it's actually in the music industry, whether it is in performance or in creating art, artists are suffering financially tremendously. So the fact you are helping them is such a great thing that you're doing. So thank you for helping to spearhead that. And I will say, because having the art, I'm looking at it right now, and I did just post the link there in chat so everybody can have a look at the murals if you haven't seen them in real life, is just having boarded up shops there. It looks like it's so depressing, like zombie apocalypse, right? And the fact you bring hope, joy, and positivity just through those murals, it's great. So thank you for that. So very quickly, I have one more question before we flip over and see if Maryam has any questions here. I did talk about the artists, but also the restaurants, because this has been so heavily impacted. I actually saw a post you had on LinkedIn a week ago, and that's how we connected, actually, was through that. And I just want to hear your how you see it through your lens with the BIA, because I'm sure you represent dozens and dozens of restaurants. So tell us a little bit quickly here, Charles, of what you're seeing there with the restaurant industry.
Well, again, understandably, they've had a huge hit to their bottom line here. So what we've done, in addition to a number of other BIs in the city of Vancouver, is we helped establish something called Takeout to Help Out. And our next event is actually happening tomorrow. So again, go to our website. Any of the participating businesses, if you buy $20 worth of food, could be breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or you can do all three, you'll get a $10 gift card that the DVBIA is underwriting, and you can use that for future visit, hopefully a dine-in relatively soon. So this is our second time that we've done it, and we're looking at potentially doing that throughout this particular recovery phase. And the other thing we've done, based on that LinkedIn post that you read, is that we really played a role in terms of getting the city of Vancouver to allow the expansion of patios and making the process for doing that simple, quick, easy, and no cost to the restaurants. And so this will provide them an opportunity to take 50% of their seating that they can't use in their own premises and put it out on the street. So this is going to be great news for our businesses for the upcoming summer months. We hope we get weather like today, and so we can all dine al fresco.
Fantastic. Well, I could ask another 50 questions, but I have to be respectful of time here. I want to quickly flip it over to Maryam. Are there any questions in chat, Maryam, or do you have a follow-up question you'd like to ask Charles?
There are no questions in the chat, but I just want to say how much I love what you have done for our city, and you know, with Mural Fest and all the positive impact it has made. How can more artists get involved with this?
You know what, they can just reach out to us. I've got a very responsive team, and I do want to underscore that. You know, there's no I in team. I know that gets said a lot. I've got a great team that very responsive, but just reach out to me, and you know, certainly we can look and explore some opportunities. I forgot to mention the other thing we did very quickly. We hired buskers, street performers, to perform during the summer. And we didn't know whether or not we can do that this year. So again, my team created something called Downtown Sounds. And again, it's on our website, and we basically paid artists to perform. And we posted those through a variety of different social media channels. So again, providing them with a source of revenue and giving them some exposure.
I absolutely love that and respect it so much because I know a lot of musicians and artists are suffering at this time. And another question is that, are there any fundings for them? Any specific fundings that is provided through BIA?
Yeah, so we do pay the artist. You know, we do value what they're contributing. We don't ask them to do anything for free. For example, the banners that you'll see going up in the next couple of weeks, the designer that won each of those banners contest will be paid, and actually I just signed the checks yesterday. So they have been paid for their designs to be used for the banners that will be installed.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Love it. Good stuff. Well, we do have time for one more question. Hey, Michelle, do you have any questions for Charles? We keep it kind of light and fluid here. Not to put you on the spot here, but the fact that you've lived in Vancouver, Michelle, but now you've actually lived both in Whistler and also on Sunshine Coast. So you've kind of seen the rural and the urban things. So do you have anything you'd like to ask Charles, or even back and forth there? Oh, we need to unmute you first there. Hold on.
There we go. Hi.
There we go. Excellent.
I'm curious, Charles, how you look after your physical and mental health in this time.
That's a good. You know what? I find my great de-stressor is going out for a run or exercise, and literally putting the devices down or off at a certain time, and then you know, spending some time with my wife as well in terms of just relaxing, you know, watching TV or running together. So that's kind of the way I deal with the stress in my life. And you know, I really enjoy the work that I do, and I really value what we can do for our membership. And I get a lot of pleasure out of that, just knowing that we're here for them and of service to them. How about you? Well, you kind of talked a little bit about what you do.
It's kind of all I talked about.
Well, we could keep going on here, but we are almost at the top of the hour, so we do want to wrap up here and be respectful of everybody's time. We'd like to keep this on half an hour. So as I mentioned, we do have jack.org as our charity. We have raised $155 that we are going to put towards them in the month of May. And since today we did not get any donations, I got to do something a little different. As Maryam has seen many times, that I will sing a little song as a thank you to people, but I won't be doing that. I'll be doing my party trick today, which I don't know if Maryam, if you've seen this before. So what I'm going to do here, this is my party trick that I've won many free drinks from. So I've got, you can see them. So I've got 15 coins here. All right, 15 coins. I'm going to take these off. I'm going to catch these on my elbow. If I catch these, all of them, the number I catch, I will donate $1 for every single one that I catch. Okay, so here we go. Ta-da!
Amazing.
There we go.
Very impressive.
Caught all 15. It's not only fair, I can do actually much more than that, but I'll keep upping the ante here every single week. I'll add more. So I will donate $15 to jack.org. So that makes it $170 that we've donated this month to that.
I will match you, Colin. I will match you.
What? $15.
I'll match that as well.
We've got $185. Oh, we've got $200. Look at that. $200. Amazing.
I might as well chip in too.
I would have got kind of, yeah, you're kind of stuck there. Yeah, if you didn't, Charles, that would have been a little awkward. So we got $215. Wow, from all of our amazing guests. So as we wrap up here, we're a little over time, but I want to hand it over to Maryam to wrap up the show for today.
Thank you so much, Colin. That was amazing. And what a great conversation. I'm so honored to have you both here. You're both doing such amazing work for our community. And it was so great to hear your stories. So thank you so much for being here with us. And we shared your information in the chat, and we'll share it on Facebook Live and LinkedIn too, so people can reach out to you. Is there anything you'd like to say to our audience and how to get in touch, or anything specific? Any message that you have? Michelle?
I'm good.
All right.
You're good? Okay, great. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Here we go. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye.
Have a good day. Bye now.